question that has been brought to the project's attention as of late is why exactly does the Bishop model android, and more specifically the Bishop model aboard the USS Sulaco on its mission to LV-46, have to enter stasis chambers at all? The question is actually quite more reasonable than what you would think, and does, in my opinion, justify the android's use of an additional stasis pod. The first thing I want to address is that Bishop does not use the stasis pod to mask his synthetic identity from the crew. We see this occurring with the sleeper agent android known as Ash, placed aboard the USCSS Nostromo in order to ensure the safe return of a Xenomorph XX-121 for analysis by the company. No, the crew of the USS Sulaco were fully aware of Bishop's nature, and Bishop himself made no attempt to hide this from anyone. He was quite comfortable with what he was, and generally, the same comfort was felt for him in turn, except for a few rarer occasions. He did not necessarily have to enter stasis, as we see that David and Walter model androids remain completely awake and operational during the duration of their crew's stasis, tending to things around their assigned ships, awaiting the awakening of their crew. So if not to mask his identity, then why exactly does he enter a stasis chamber like the other humans, despite himself being a synthetic? Well, while he might not have to hide his identity completely, keeping his synthetic nature under wraps does play to the benefit of his human crew. Bishop and models like him are designed to integrate near perfectly with humans that surround them. Now that doesn't just mean looking like a person, walking or talking like a person, but it means presenting yourself as one, and completing rudimentary, sometimes biological tasks like other people. Basically, Bishop has to keep up his appearance for being as close to humans as possible through his actions and not just through his appearance. Things like eating, drinking and sleeping all go to help the humans around Bishop see him as more of one of them, rather than a robot. The more he gets involved with their daily activities and integrates with their basic human functions and processes, the more those around him will begin to forget that he is so different from them, and in so doing he becomes a better companion, friend, and fellow crew member. And in some cases, he becomes more trusted, allowing for a better functioning and cohesive unit of individuals, which is all very important, especially when talking about military units, like the Marines, where peer-to-peer cooperation and mental well-being can be the difference between life and death in some cases. So it only follows that this is a large part of why Bishop enters a stasis pod with all other crew members and Marines. It allows him to better assimilate with them and become a more integrated part of their daily activities whilst on duty, and in this way they connect with him on a more human level. So when they wake up and go about their daily motions, he follows suit. But aside from just keeping up appearances, there's also another possible reason that the Bishop models might enter stasis. We aren't exactly certain of how these particular chambers function, but it is possible that the Bishop model enters them in order to improve the longevity of his synthetic body and components. It's quite possible that the aspects of the stasis process that extend the life of a biological individual could also apply to a degree with the synthetic. This means that while Bishop is in stasis, he might be able to extend the time between his required maintenance. There is also the potential for Bishop to collate data much better during this downtime. This time, where Bishop enters a standby mode, would essentially function much the same and have the same result as it does in human sleep cycles. Humans, while asleep, consolidate all information from the day, essentially creating new memories and ridding the brain of waste information, making space for long-term memory and new experiences. So in comparison, while in stasis, Bishop isn't using a majority of his processing power to maintain his artificial consciousness, to interact with humans around him, or simply read data from all his active senses that are constantly receiving and transmitting new information to his CPU. So instead, he can focus his processing power on data categorization. He can take all this new data from his awake cycle and use it to learn to operate more effectively and fluidly with his human superiors and with his marine unit. Before you go, I wanted to let you know about the ACHERON Colonial Marketplace, the one-stop shop for all Project ACHERON merchandise. All proceeds go to fund our future endeavours under the project, so if you want to support the channel and look good doing it, pick up some ACHERON merch. But what other data logs would you like to see? If you have any ideas or have any questions to be answered, please leave them in the comments or contact me directly through the Project ACHERON Discord. If you enjoyed today's segment, please leave a like and share the video. And if you really want to support what we do here and gain access to a bunch of awesome rewards, consider becoming a Project ACHERON channel member, like Project Director Chris Dasinger and Team Member Raunchy. I hope to see you all here again very soon, but until then, this is the ACHERON Project signing off.